Many thanks to American Corner in Tashkent to provide an access to me the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book that was written by Stephen R. Covey by just writing a 40 word by his son and a big fan of him. I'm really interested in these habits. Besides, I read the inside or let's say the mean world of the principles. So let's discover it and then let's read it. Part 1, Paradigms and Principles. So I have to remind that after a couple of weeks I have an exam and I've stopped to do everything, especially the solving the test or exercise related to IELTS materials. I've started with the beginning, just reading, just speaking with someone, just listening, and just writing about anything. Writing and reading as well. Because I saw my weaknesses at the beginning, and I saw the vital role of it. So that's why I'm just reading. I'm not, let's say, forcing, knowing each word by word, each sentence, meaning of everything. I'm just reading. I'm just going to improve my comprehension, my pronunciation, and let's say the skim reading skill. Let's start. Inside out. So, one more minute. So, let's read it because I've stopped for a while for drinking. I read before making a video a lot. That's why it was good to have a break. Every 15 minutes, I'll stop for drinking some water to wet my mouth, or let's say the part of my body after my mouth. Inside out, there is no real excellence in all the world which can be separated from right living. David Starr Jordan. There is no real excellence in all this world which can be separated from right living. And more than 25 years of working with people in business, university, and marriage and family settings, I've come in a contrast with many individuals who have achieved an incredible degree of outward success, but have found themselves struggling with inner hunger, a deep need for personal congruency and effectiveness and for healthy growing relationship with other people. I respect, I suspect from of the problems they've shared with me may be familiar to you. I've said I'm met my career goals and I'm having tremendous professional success, but it doesn't cost me my personal and my family life. I don't know my wife and children anymore. I'm not even sure I know myself on what's really important to me. I've had to ask myself, is it worth it? I've started a new diet for the 5th time this year. And I'm overweight and I really want to change. I read all new information, I set goals. I get myself all saged up with a positive mental attitude and tell myself I can do it. But I don't. After a few weeks, I fizzle. I just can't seem to keep a promise to make myself. I've taken a course after course on effective management training. I expect a lot out of my employers and I work hard to be friendly toward them and to treat them right. but I don't feel any loyalty from them. I think if I were home sick for a day, we would spend most of the time gabbing at the water fountain. Why I can't? Why can't I train them to be independent, responsible, or find employees who can be? My teenager son is rebellious and on drugs, and on drugs. No matter what I try, he won't listen to me. What can I do? There is so much to do, and there is never enough time. I have a pressure and hustle all day, every day, 7 days a week. I've attended time management seminars and I've tried half a dozen different planning systems. They've helped some, but I still don't feel I'm living a happy, productive, peaceful life I want to live. I want to teach my children the value of work, but to get them to do anything, I have to supervise even more, every more, and put up with complaints every step of the way. It's so much easier to do it myself. Why can children do their work cheerfully and without being reminded? I'm busy, really busy. But sometimes I wonder if what I'm doing will make any difference in the long run. I would really like to think there was meaning in my life, that somehow things were different because I was here. I see my friends or relatives achieve some degree of success or receive some recognition, and I smile and congratulate them enthusiastically, enthusiastically, enthusiastically. But inside, I'm letting my heart out. Why do I feel this way? I have a forceful personality. I know it's almost an interaction. I can control the outcome most of the time. I can never do it by influencing others to come up with the solution I want. I think through each situation, and I really feel the idea I come out with are usually the best for everyone. But I feel uneasy. I always wonder what other people really think of me and my ideas. My marriage has gone flat. We don't fight or anything. We just don't love each other anymore. We have gone to counseling. We've tried a number of things. We just can't seem to rekindle the feeling we used to have. These are the problems. Painful problems. Problems that quick fix approach can solve. A few years ago, my wife Sandra and I were struggling with this kind of concern. One of our sons was having a very difficult time in school. He was doing poorly academically. He didn't even know how to follow the instruction on the test, let alone do well on them. Socially, he immature, often. No. So let's continue. We'll see. We'll try to see my room. I think that is not bad. Not too bad. So I'll show you something. Let's see. I'll move here. Oh, the best posture. So he was doing poor academically. He didn't even know how to follow the instruction of the tests, let alone do well on them. Socially, he was immature, often embarrassing those closest to him. So this 20 minutes. So I will also have a physical break and 40-second minute. Athletically, he was small, skinny, and uncoordinated, swinging his baseball bat. For example, almost before the ball was even pitched, Ali would laugh at him. Sandra and I were consumed with desire to help him. He felt that if success was important in any idea of life, it was supremely important in our role as parents. So we worked on an attitude and behavior toward him, and we tried to work on this. So I would try to work on his. We attempted to teach him up using positive mental attitude techniques. Come up, son. Come on, techniques. Come on, son. Why you can do it? We know you can. Put your hands a little higher on the bat and keep your eyes on the ball. Don't swing till it gets closer to you. And if he did it a little better, we would go to great lengths to reinforce him. That's good. That's good, son. Keep it up. Honestly, I'm fan of Luke, who was born in Britain, tits in English, and he really speaks well. His, let's say, the pronunciation skills and accent are perfect and clean. I'm fan of it, and I'm proud that I'm following him, that I'm listening every single of his podcasts. It's over an hour. Because I'm trying to copy, let's say, his way of reading, his accent as well. So let's continue. When others laughed, we reprimanded them. Leave him alone, get off his back. He's just learning. And our son would cry and insist that he would never be any good and that he wouldn't like baseball anyway. Baseball, what's baseball? Baseball. So I understood it's related to ball. What's basic, baseball. It's related to rugby, baseball anyway. Nothing with it seemed to help. We were really worried. We could see the effect this was having on his self-esteem. We tried to be encouraging and helpful and positive, but after repeated failure, we finally drew back and tried to look at the situation on a different level. At his time, I'm a professional role. I was involved in leadership development work with various clients throughout the country. And at capacity, I was preparing bi-monthly programs on the subject of communicating and preparing for our IBM's Executive Developer Program participants. As a resource and prepared this presentation, I became particularly interested in how perception formed, how they govern what we see, and how the way we see governs how we behave. This led me to study of expectancy theory and self-fulfilling prophecies of Pygmalion effect and to realize of how deeply embedded a perception are. I thought it told me that we must look at the lane through which we see the world as well as the world we see, and that the lens itself shapes how we interpret the world. And Sandra and I talked about the concept I was teaching at IBM and about our own situation. We begin to realize that what we are doing to help us on was not in harmony with the way we really saw him. We honestly examined our deepest feeling. We realized that our perception was that he was basically inadequate, someone behind. No matter how much we worked on our attitude and behavior, our efforts were ineffective because despite our action and our words, we were really communicated to him. To him was, you aren't capable. We have to be protected. We begin to realize that we have wanted to change the situation. We're first to change ourselves, and to change ourselves effectively, we was had to change our perceptions. The personality and characteristics. At the same time, in addition to my research, the perception, I was also deeply immersed in a in a, in an in an in-depth study of success literature published in the United States in 1776. I was reading or scanning literally hundreds of books, articles, and essays and feeds such as self improvement, popular psychology, and fields such as self improvement, popular psychology, and self help. At my fingertips was the sum and substance of what a free and democratic people consider to be the key to successful living. As my study took me back through to 200 years of writing about success, I noticed the startling pattern emerging in the context of the literature. Because of our own pain, and because of similar pain I had seen in the lives and relationships of many people I've worked with thousands of years, I began to feel more and more much of success. Literature of the past 20 years was superficial. It was filled with social image, consciousness, techniques, and quick fixes, with social band-aids and aspirins that address the acute problems and sometimes even appeared to solve them temporarily, but left the underlying chronic problems untouched to fester and resurface time and again, time and again. And stark contrast, almost all the literature in the first 150 years were so focused on what could be called the character ethic, character ethic as a foundation of success, thinking like integrity, humility, fidelity, temperance, courage, justice, patience, industry, simplicity, modesty, and the golden rule. Benjamin Franklin's autobiography is representative and of what literature is. It's basically the story of one man's effort to integrate certain principles and habits with his nature. The characteristic taught me there are basic principles of effective living and that people can only experience through success and enduring happiness as they learn and integrate these principles into their basic character. But surely after World War I, the basic view of success shifted from character ethic to what we might call the personality ethic. So let it change it. Let it zoom in. Zoom in. Am I right? Am I right? Yes, I am. I will let it move it when I reach to the end. Let's have a break. So where's my car? Where's my car? I left it. So 1 minute. So let's continue. So success became more a function of personality, of public image, of attitudes and behaviors, skills and techniques, and lubricate the processes of human interaction. This personality ethic essentially took look took two paths. One way, human and public relations techniques, and the other was positive mental attitude, PMA. Some of the psychology was expressed and inspiring that sometimes while it maximizes such as your attitude determines your altitude. So attitude, altitude. It's let's say uh, calculating the length of something. So smelling wins more friends than frowning. And whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. Other parts of personality approach were clearly manipulate, even deceptive, encouraging people to use techniques, techniques to get other people to like them, or to fake interest in a hobbies of other to get out of them what they want, what they wanted, or to use the power look, or to intimidate the way thought life. Some of these liturgy acknowledged characters and ingredient of success, but tended to compartmentalize, compartmentalize. It's rather than recognize as a foundation and catalytic reference to the character ethic became mostly lip service. The basic trust was quick fuse, influence techniques, power strategies, communication skill, and a positive attitudes. This personality ethic I began to realize was the subconscious source of the solution Sandra and I were attempting to use as a son. And I thought more deeply about the difference between the personality and character ethics. I realized that Sandra and I have been getting social mileages out of children's good behavior and in eyes. This son simply didn't measure up our image of ourselves and our role is good, carrying patterns, whatever deeper than our image of our son and perhaps influence it. There was a lot of rapid in a way we were seeing and handling handling the problem that are concerned for our son's welfare. As Sandra and I walked, we became painfully aware of the powerful influence of our own character and motives and our perception of him. We knew the social comparison motivates was out of harmony with our deeper values that could lead to conditional love and eventually to our son's lessened sense of our self-worth. So we determined to focus our effort on us, not on our techniques, but but uh, um, but but on our deepest motives and our perception of him. Instead of trying to change him, we try to stand apart, to separate us from him, and the sense of identifying individually, separateness, and worth through deep thought and the exercise of these and play. So it's 27 minutes. I had a break in 20 minutes and I'm rapidly having the break. That's why I will read till then, and reading book section will end for me. Let's show you the interface of this book. This the over 40 million copies sold. The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Ray Covey, updated with fresh insight by Sean Covey. If I'm not mistaken, he is his son, the New York Times bestselling author, forward by Jim Collins, author of Good to Great and co-author of Built to Last. This is an old book, let's say very since the nation embassy of the United States of America in Tashkent, Uzbekistan Information Resource Center, and I'm very thankful to them to providing this book. And I, let's say, suddenly identified it because the first I want first to bring a book 5 a.m. Robin Sharma 5 a.m. standing at 5 a.m. with how we can say was a herd artificial heart with this figure and I read, and I changed my mind by choosing the children who something and wind, who own the wind, who make something with wind, but I couldn't really read it. That's why first I'll continue and we'll reach the end of the page 20, and I'm really, let's say, proud that I've started at the beginning of it with the first page and read it till 20. I'm recording it and later I will show my face, let's say explain my laptop and recording everything how I'm analyzing the article, how I'm analyzing articles, and reading something, explaining something, identifying something. I'll show in a YouTube platform because I'm trying to make this app to store the data, to store everything that's allowed to show the public, because I'm the people who respect the privacy. I'm going to keep a balance by sharing everything, by sharing the knowledge in this program, by sharing to myself. And my greatest time is to post anything without editing, without, let's say, adding something that's related to marketing traps. I don't want it. This platform just will serve to me as a storage. Let's continue. Oh, what was there? Through deep thoughts and exercise of faith and prayer, we began to see our son in terms of his own uniqueness. We saw within him layers and layers of potential that would be realized in his own pace and speed. We decided to relax and get out of his way and let his own personality emerge. We saw a natural role as being to affirm, enjoy, and value him. We also conscientiously conscientiously worked on a motivate and cultivate the internal source of security so that our own feeling of worth we were not dependent on our children's acceptable behaviors here as we listen atop our old perception of our son and develop the value-based motives, new feelings begin to emerge. We found ourselves enjoying him instead of comparing or judging him. We stopped trying to clone him in our own image and measure him against social exceptions expectations. We stop trying to kindly, positively manipulate him into an acceptable social mold because we saw him as a fundamental, adequate, and able to cope with life. We stop protecting him against the ridicule of others. He had been nurtured of his protection, so he went through some visceral pains which he expressed and which we accepted, but did not necessarily responded to. We don't need to protect you. What's the unspoken message? You're fundamentally okay. You're fundamental okay. As the weeks and months passed, he began to feel a quiet confidence and affirm himself. He began to blossom at his own pace and speed. He became outstanding as measured by outstanding social criteria, academically, socially, and athletically at a rapid clip for beyond the so-called natural development process. As the years passed, he was elected to several student body leadership positions, developed into our all-state athlete, and started bringing home straight A report cards. He developed an engaging and guideless, guileless personality that has enabled him to relate in non-threatening ways to all kinds of people. Sandra and I believe that our son's socially impressive accomplishments were more a serendipitous expression of the feeling he had about himself, what merely in response to social reward. This was an amazing experience for Sandra and me, and a very instructional one in dealing with our other children and in other roles as well. It brought to our awareness on a very personal level to vital difference between the personality ethic and a character ethic of success. The psalmist expressed a conviction well. Search your own heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issue of life. So we have reached to end of 20th page. So let's describe a little more. I'm not trying to understand everything, every single, let's say, word. I'm just reading. And I'm just practicing my ability. Nothing more. I'm not expecting anything more that I will try. So let's put here something to remind me. I think this is a perfect thing. This is a perfect thing. I put it here. Let's continue with the task two responses. Here's the book. No. Let's not mix so many informations. Let's just end this section of this book. I read 20 books and I've shared with you by reading out loud of just five piece. So let's remind me my own DVs, my own sentence or word, let's see. I'm just doing that practicing. I'm not practicing. I'm not waiting for a lot. I'm just doing result will come completely total, I'm sure. And I have to work in 40 second minutes. And I have a 5 minutes. So I'm not going to mix this section. That's why I will stop. See you in the next videos. It's not a marketing video or sponsored by someone. It's just a video to a store. Something that has a value to me. So see you again.